the journey of life and etc. I just never got back to finishing it, and it's such a W video. It's with TG and Swag fucking Kage, so it's a go-to video, and I just it totally passed me. So we're gonna finish this out, and we have a lot more other videos to get into as well. So I'm really excited about that. Some more bangers that were dropped by TG, and some bangers of Thunder God and Jay the Great even collabing together, which sounds incredible. So there's a lot of shit we got to catch up on. We're a little behind, but we'll get there. But we're going to get into this video. It's what if each getting squad fought Zabuza and HAKU. And I don't remember what part. I'm pretty sure we only did one reaction. I'm pretty fucking sure. So this should be part 2 of the reaction, or I could be wrong. But either way, let's get it. Let's do it.
It's like Shikamaru and Ino have to figure out a way to outsmart Zabuza after he like cuts down Asuma. Yeah. Like maybe Asuma takes it, right? But I don't know. I think so. That you can pretty safely give it to the kids over HAKU, just because like we have a pretty similar like dynamic here between, you know, like Choji and Shikamaru. They're like really tight best friends, and Choji has a secret massive power up his sleeve that's going to be like, you know, time limited. Yeah. So I think that he'll be able to take HAKU out, but Zabuza has a couple of advantages that put him over Asuma, where like Asuma won't be able to do Zabuza the way Kakashi did and just like beat him up and embarrass him, right? I think it's more likely that Asuma loses, but I could be wrong about that, because like TG said earlier, he does like just show up and kind of put the hands on Kisame. So like I don't know if he would have won a full fight. Is the thing. He probably wouldn't have, but you know, like Asuma's not bad. I just think that Zabuza has like the tools in his arsenal, like he's just a perfect counter.
I agree.
For Asuma here.
I lean towards Zabuza as well. Like just for everything you said, it's like, you know, they're close enough. It's like the matchup. You know, I definitely think he takes it. So I honestly like that. That's the
what I will say on that part before they move on, guys. I basically gave all my arguments and played devil's advocate for both sides. Between Asuma versus Zabuza, it's actually a really good topic to do with somebody as well, to debate or just even discuss or make a video on. But I gave arguments for both sides. If you guys want to see that and everything, go to part 1 for the reaction. And then, like I said, I'll put that video in the link in the description down below. This way you guys can see what I reacted for the first 30 minutes. But we're going to continue on. But I kind of already gave my thoughts and opinion on that.
Like Team Asuma one, that one's a little crazy. Definitely a little crazy.
It's the most wild one for sure.
We're wilding out right now. So
the grade is weird because like the kids take out HAKU, but like the team ultimately loses. Yeah. So I don't want to give them an F because they put up a good fight, and Asuma could squeeze out a W against Zabuza. That's really all that needs to happen for this to be a total success. So I would go like C-, maybe C, maybe C plus if I'm feeling really generous, but I'd probably lean like C-, C, somewhere in that range, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, C, that range is honestly fine, because, you know, if they fail the mission or there's a good chance of failing, it's just not a good grade.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Team Kurenai versus Zabuza and HAKU. Now, this is a little weird to talk about. This is a little weird. I guess I'll start off with Kurenai. So, Kurenai versus Zabuza is a little weird, since like Kurenai doesn't really have like any feats in the show, and it doesn't help that like, unlike Guy or Asuma, she doesn't have those statements being like, oh, she's close to Kakashi. Nah, like maybe you could infer that off her Jonin rank. Like she should be impressive and have like a basic, you know, she should be strong in those, like generally speaking, which she probably is. But like it doesn't help that she's rather featless for most of the show. Her biggest feat is putting Itachi under Genjutsu and then him just reflecting it right back on her. And this is really the biggest point of contention when talking about Kurenai versus Zabuza is, okay, is she gonna place him under Genjutsu, and can he break out? We'll talk about this in a second. Actually, what do you have to say on this? Let me hear what you have to say on like this aspect. This is probably like the biggest part, because it's like the only part to talk about for Kurenai.
Yeah. So the thing with Kurenai is that like her Genjutsu, it's like it's pretty much a complete like wild card, right? Like we have no idea how effective it would be against somebody like Zabuza, because it's like, it sucks for her that her only feat or like demonstration of her skills ever was against the best genjutsu user in the entire series before Six Paths stuff showed up, right? Yeah. Like there's 0 people who can even begin to contest with Itachi in terms of genjutsu prowess.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that it didn't work.
You do have Shisri though.
On him it's not necessarily indicative of her genjutsu skill. And the other thing too is if you want to be like charitable to her, it did actually work on him. Like he didn't just completely shrug it off. The thing is he was just able to use like a Sharingan hacks to flip it back on her.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess the thing is that he was still able to act under it. So it would like, I don't know. The thing, like, you just can't link Itachi to Zabuza in terms of like genjutsu defense, right? Like they're not even in the same ballpark.
So I'll say this before they keep going. So far, nothing wrong with what they're saying. It's pretty transparent and equitable analysis of what they're doing. But this is the weird part about her. Like they said, she's feetless. We really don't fucking know. We know she's a Jonin or whatever, but we really don't know exactly where she even stands as a Jonin. You know what I mean? Like, is she mid-tier? Is she high-tier? Is she low? Like, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? And that's a big deal because, obviously, if she's like a low-tier Jonin or something, then she would probably get bitched by Zabuza because we see Zabuza being able to, like, basically go blow for blow with fucking Rusty Kakashi and you name it. You know, you have all that, whatnot, etc. Like, would she even be, like, relative or equal to Rusty Kakashi? Or is she, like, in the same ballpark as Rusty Kakashi, but nowhere near... You know what I mean? Prime Kakashi. Like at the end of the day, we just really don't know. We don't have like any fucking statements to like indicate where exactly she stands in the Jonin ranks. And obviously that's a big deal. That's really important. You know, like once again, we have 2 examples of 2 low tier Jonins that fought the Sound 4 at full power, and both of them lost in a 4v2 situation. You know, they gave them a hell of a fight, but they lost, you know. And at the end of the day, like, mind you, if those are low-tier Jonin, and the Sound 4 barely made it off, you know what I mean, surviving, imagine what Guy could do. Imagine what Kakashi could do, you know? So, like, and those are high-tier Jonins instead. So it's like, it's not like all Jonins are in the same ballpark. There's different categories of that shit, you know? Same thing for Kage level. There's low Kage, you know, and then high Kage level, etc. You know, so that's the first problem. And without really knowing that, kind of makes it very trippy or hard to understand. You know, that's just kind of what you're working with. And that's basically it, right? You know? And then, like, the only other thing she has is, once again, her feat against Itachi. But this is where it gets even more complex. It's either Itachi was holding back and let her do that, and then just, like, reflects it just to flex, you know what I mean, and then bitches her. Or her genjutsu was that strong, you know what I mean? And she was able to get it on someone like on the caliber of Itachi Uchiha out of all characters, which would then be incredibly impressive because if she can be able to genjutsu at someone like Itachi, she could definitely genjutsu Zabuza, and that actually might be a win con, as crazy as that sounds, you know? So it boils down to whether if you think her genjutsu actually scales to Itachi. If you think it does, then that's most certainly a win con. If you don't think it does, then it's not a win con. And at the end of the day, we don't even know where her genjutsu falls under, because the way genjutsu works in a simple consensus is depending on the scaling tier of the 2 ninja that are fighting against each other. If you are like let's say you're equal to each other, then the person can more than likely have equal genjutsu resistance and be able to deal with the genjutsu and then act accordingly. You know what I mean? You have things like that, like Minotaur's Obito is a prime example, etc. etc. So, like, it really just depends, you know what I mean? Because, like, at the end of the day, like, let's say Zabuza, you know, is equal to her, you know, in the scaling aspects somehow, right? And she does genjutsu. He can more than likely be able to cancel it in time and then react accordingly, or that could maybe give her that short amount of interval could give her just enough time to sever the gap in between each other. You know what I mean? So it really just depends, and it's still contentious. But bottom line is, what we've seen for the most part is whenever 2 individuals are within a similar ballpark, genjutsu basically can either be a hit and miss. It either is effective or it's not. You know, we even see that with Uchiha, you know? So, like, overall, like, it really depends. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we just don't know a lot about her. We know she's a genjutsu specialist. I even believe there's even a statement where it's like she's like the best genjutsu user or whatever. So meaning you could even argue that she's somehow better than Kakashi or some shit, whatever. But no matter what, like, it's really hard. It's really, really hard to gauge what she could do. We really just don't know. It's a lot of speculation and just giving her the benefit of the doubt, basically. So, like, if we're highballing her, and let's say she scales to Itachi somehow with Genjutsu and Jutsu activation, even though I don't think that's the case at all. Well, actually, I won't say Jutsu activation. We could bare minimum give Genjutsu, right? Because definitively it is shown for her to Genjutsu him. And then even Asuma was like, hey, what's taking you so long? You need to hurry the fuck up. You know what I mean? Place him in Genjutsu so we can end this shit, you know? So, like, if you highball her, and let's say she does scale to Itachi being able to place him in Genjutsu, then obviously if she's able to Genjutsu Zabuza, that can be a big fucking problem. Because you gotta basically argue Zabuza has Itachi-level Genjutsu resistance or some shit, you know? Good luck with that, and then meaning he dies. But the problem with that is, let's say even if she does have Genjutsu, you know, prowess with Itachi, like to where it scales to him or whatever, if her Jutsu activation speed isn't fucking fast and it takes a hot minute, which it was basically implied in that fight that it took her a bit to charge it up, you know, Zabuza would just not let her do Genjutsu. You know what I mean? Like, especially if they're equal to each other, it's going to be really hard for her to land a Genjutsu, especially if it takes time, you know, or if Zabuza is slightly over her and she's only relative, that's even more tremendously harder for her to do it, you know? Like, so, like, if it's equal, it might be fair game, and maybe she can be able to pull it off, or just can't, you know? But if she's only, like, but if Zabuza is either slightly over or way over, she's fucked, you know? Before she can even do the jutsu and apply the genjutsu, she's just gonna get bitched, you know, or killed. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's I don't know, it's really weird. And then not only that, another thing, like fucking, I don't even think you can play Zabuza into genjutsu if he's in the mist as well, because Kakashi never ever tries to place him in a genjutsu in the mist, and I don't think he couldn't, because he requires visual contact for him to use the Sharingan genjutsu. I know that bare minimum, but he also does know genjutsu as well, and he has feats of genjutsu resistance against Kabuto. So it's like, it kind of comes to the point where, like, maybe genjutsu can't even be, like, effective in the mist, because he never even thought to do that, or even to employ it as a strategy. Instead, Kakashi was like, you know what, I need to utilize my sense of smelling and sound in order to deal with him. So, and mind you, Kakashi's, like, extremely intelligent. He would use every form of strategy you could possibly think of. So it's, basically what I'm getting at is, if Zabuza could even do a mist technique and pull that off before she can even land a genjutsu, I don't think she can even get him in genjutsu at that point. We just don't really know. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a sound genjutsu, then you could, obviously it doesn't matter. He's going to get fucked up. But for the genjutsu that she utilizes, I would have to do my homework and look it up. But I believe it's just like normal genjutsu, where it's like you just pour the genjutsu into someone's chakra and then disturb it, you know, and kind of go from there. And once again, I just have no idea if the mist would even interact with that or whatever. Maybe, hopefully TG and Swag has done some homework, and they can maybe even elaborate on that further. But it's really interesting. So, the data book says she has an equal battle with Itachi genjutsu, and that she can overthrow his, do with that what she will. Yeah, so if you have the data book or the statement where it's saying that she is in a similar ballpark with Itachi, which I'm going to be blatantly honest with you, that just sounds weird to even think of. But if you take that with the statement at value, then no matter what, if Zabuza gets hit by that shit, he's more than likely fucked. It kind of comes down to a point where it's like, do you really think someone that's Kakashi level, or to Rust Kakashi level, even somebody like Kabuto, you think they're fucking with the level of genjutsu on that level extent? Come on now. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So once again, if you highball her, or even include that statement from the data book or whatever, then sure. You know what I mean? Like, if she can land that, I could see a win con happening, as crazy as that sounds. But if she's not like that, and let's say you lowball her, and just to, like, be, transparent as possible, whatever, and it's not, to touch level, whatever, and he just let it fucking happen, basically, we just don't know at that point. We really don't know. All we know, no matter what, is she's a genjutsu specialist and pretty solid with genjutsu. Probably could even give Kakashi a run for his money, or bitch him in that battle, We don't know, So it's really, really interesting. But at the end of the day, it's something really to think about. It's a very interesting fight to think of. Personally, with all the data book statements we have of Kakashi kind of being like the strongest, you name it, and kind of just implied to be the best of the best of the Jonin, excluding Guy, you know what I mean? But compared to everyone else, I would say for sure that Zabuza more than likely beats her, and I don't even think Genjutsu will be able to be a win con for her. I think he just basically beats her up and she dies. But once again, we just don't know. We really don't know. It's either she gets fucked up or she can land a Genjutsu and then Zabuza's fucked. And what we do know bare minimum is if you're in similar scaling, okay, you can be able to break out of the Genjutsu immediately. So there's that as well. We literally see it. When Kabuto does a Genjutsu on Guy and Kakashi and all these other people, all the Jonin immediately break out of it and they're perfectly fine. So like once again, if you're in a similar ballpark, whether if you're relative or equal, whatever, Genjutsu is a hit and miss. It'll either work or it doesn't. You know, it's not guaranteed an automatic W. You know, so that's basically as much as you can put into consideration. Appreciated that, Ken.
Park at all. So I think that it would work for sure. The question is if Zabuza would be able to bust himself out of it. Kurenai was by like biting her lip and like drawing blood able to break herself out of her own Genjutsu. Maybe Zabuza would be able to do the same thing. I'm certain that he's dealt with Genjutsu before as
that as well. Genjutsu is really easy to counter. Pain is one way to get out of it, or two, if you can do what Jiraiya was teaching Naruto, to where you need to basically do something with your chakra. I don't remember the exact details, but you need to do something with your chakra, manipulate it and control it in a sense to overcome the Genjutsu, if that makes sense. Or if that doesn't work, you need someone to break you out of it. Those are the only three ways to counter Genjutsu. So, and we've seen Shikamaru get out of Genjutsu instantaneous by breaking his finger. We've seen her bite her lip. There's plenty of examples.
Experienced Jonin and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, but like Kurenai might just like, I don't know, it's really hard to say. What we can say is that if Zabuza like looks like he's in mortal danger, HAKU will probably show up and snap him out of it. So that's the thing. I think that like Kurenai versus Zabuza is a pretty difficult fight to talk about with any level of certainty, but knowing that Haku's there and that none of the other members of Team Kurenai will really be able to do anything about him, I think that like there's no way that Kurenai is going to be able to 2v1 Zabuza and Haku. Like I feel like there's just no argument there because she doesn't have any feats. You could give her the benefit of the doubt and just say that Zabuza wouldn't be able to do anything about her Genjutsu because, like, you know, he fell victim to Kakashi's Sharingan Genjutsu the first time they fought. He wasn't expecting it, to be fair to him, and it didn't really work on him the second time, but still, like, it worked on him at first. And if Kurenai's smart with it or disguises the fact that she's using Genjutsu, maybe she does something clever by messing with his perception of the environment the same way that Sasuke did against Danzo. Maybe she could like make him make like a fatal mistake or something. But you know, the thing is, Haku's also there, so I just can't see Kurenai beating Zabuza before Haku notices that it's about to happen, and then beating both of them when Haku inevitably intervenes. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and to add to that, like, there's a big consistency with Genjutsu in part 1, and like breaking out of it via self-inflicted pain. Like Shikamaru even does that against Tayuya. And before someone brings this up, because someone always does, Tayuya's Genjutsu here and Sage Mode Kabuto's are not the same thing. He literally is amping that Genjutsu with like nature energy. Like, it's a whole, like, he has a whole nother tier of strength, so don't even try and like connect those two. So, you know, if you kind of go down that
absolutely, it's very ratty. It's a false equivalence
road, and the fact that like Zabuza, even like off him like trying to take down Gato, doesn't really have a problem with like inflicting damage to himself or like taking blows. He doesn't even seem to care about Kakashi's dog. You could maybe make a case, but you know, if you want to go back to it, like even the data book suggests like Kurenai's Genjutsu isn't a joke. Like, they even talk about like she even caught the mighty Itachi. Whichever way you slice it, Haku's just kind of the make it or break it here. And the fact that Haku is fast enough because he's able to intercept the Raikiri, and willing enough to leave the mirrors and his fight to go help Zabuza is all you really need to say for Zabuza to surefire not get taken out via.
Yeah, because once again, if Kurenai's team can't deal with Haku, which they wouldn't be able to, they just wouldn't give the same vibes as Team 7 could give, or even Asuma. They're more than likely getting dealt with and beaten, and then at the end of the day, like, fucking Zabuza, like, if for somehow, some way she could be about to get the W, she'll intervene, and then they're fucked. Or if it's a 2v1, she's fucked. I'm sorry.
Genjutsu. That's
like, she was stated to be stronger than Rusty Kakashi and Zabuza. You really think Kurenai's beating that bitch?
I'm lying here. In which case, you know, it doesn't seem too good for Kurenai. And we also get into the Genin. Now, the Genin are a little weird to talk about, especially who goes into the Ice Mirror. We lean towards Hinata protecting Tazuna just off her being more conservative as a person. We can acknowledge, like, she could go in, but, like, we generally lean towards that, even around her teammates, or, like, when compared to, like, other fights, like, against GAARA or somebody like that, like, she's the most conservative and, the first one to, like, shake up and stuff like that. So, you kind of have to look at who gets in the Ice Mirror first, which is, like, a little hard to say. If we assume they're both in the Ice Mirror, just for the sake of argument, just because we could stand here all day suggesting who goes in what, it's a little interesting, especially since you have Shino, right? Shino's really interesting. Shino's the GOAT in part 1. We were talking about this.
Yeah, he's crazy, dude. He's so OP in part 1, bro. Like,
Mr. Baggett.
The way he made a joke out of like he does the same thing to Zaku that curse mark amp Sasuke does to Zaku, but like with no curse mark, right? And it's not just with his bugs, you know, he's sitting there blocking Zaku's punches and stuff, you know, like giving him the hands too. So yeah, he's definitely strong. I think that it's weird that Kishimoto like wrote him out of the Sasuke retrieval arc, and like because Naruto says something about how like isn't Shino like strong? God. Isn't he the one that you would want to bring for a mission like this? And they were like, yeah, we all wanted to get him, but he was busy. Like you know they talk about Shino like he's that guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He's definitely one of the like upper tier Genin of you know the Leaf Village around this point in the series. But like also he's fighting Haku. And he definitely wouldn't be, because like he would be doing his like weird bug things that like Haku wouldn't really have any point of reference for. I don't think he's getting that same level of internal respect or you know like personal connection from Haku that like I said with you know Shikamaru and Choji, like they didn't get it the same way that Sasuke and Neji would. So like I think that Haku's probably going to you know be close to full tilt when engaging Kiba and Shino. Kiba has no answer here. Like, Kiba is just a non-factor. Yeah. Kiba gets cooked. Shino might be able to leave a bug on Haku or something while Haku is traveling between the mirrors. But, like...
Or before the mirrors go up, you know what I mean? Like,
really that's the best shot that he has, is, like, you know, having one of those chakra consuming bugs planted on Haku before the mirrors go up.
Yeah.
But, like... Haku is really, really fast.
Yeah.
So it's like if it doesn't happen before that, I don't think I could see it happening. And if it doesn't happen, then Shino and Kiba just don't have any chance, right? No. It's basically all riding on whether or not Shino could sneak a bug onto Haku's body before the mirrors, and even then. I don't know if the bugs would be able to eat through Haku's chakra before Haku kills them. Yeah. Especially, like, as soon as Haku identifies what's going on, it's just, like, a million Senbon are flying.
and Haku is, like, extremely smart as well. Very smart.
Between the mirrors, they're done, and maybe Haku goes down as well. In that case, if Shino does it, and, like, you know, Haku gets KO'd or killed before Kurenai like drops the Genjutsu on Zabuza, then Kurenai might be able to win. But there are just too many maybes for me to give like a confident, you know, thumbs up to either of the parties here.
I agree. And it's even like bounce off.
I'm sorry. No, Shino and Kiba are not beating Haku. Hell no.
Stuff you said, like, even if you argue, because Shino does have some defenses, like he's kind of like GAARA, where like the bugs inside him and around him can like form a defense. Like you see this when like Kankuro shoots a knife at him and it just like gets, or Zaku like smacks him point blank and like he just gets up, he's fine, and you see like bugs are underneath his skin. Even if you argue like he could tank like the Senbon, at a certain point, like, it's gonna start overwhelming him. Like, he's not gonna, it's not even like GAARA's, like, even GAARA's, like, sand defense, which is touted as higher, has limits to it. So we can only assume, like, the bugs that feast off Shino's chakra, once Shino runs out of chakra, like, the bugs aren't gonna really be working for him as well. So, you know, there just isn't too much there. Kiba gets absolutely slaughtered. He lost to a Naruto who had his seal restricted by Orochimaru. Yeah. It's like, and you know, maybe you could argue, like, some people like to argue that Naruto was like mental amped because like Hokage. Sure, whatever. But like, even then, like, he probably isn't stronger than the Naruto that went QB on the bridge, even with
hell
him. So,
no.
you know,
yeah, that Kiba would get fucking slammed by QB Naruto.
Yeah,
no way.
Obviously. So it's like, you know, and it doesn't help that, like, Kiba as an individual is extremely arrogant, especially at that point in the series. So I don't think Haku would, like, see anything in him. Shino would stay quiet, in which case I think they get overwhelmed. This is probably one of those matchups where I see both sides, Zabuza and Haku, coming out with the W, or I lean towards, like, both of them.
Yeah, I would probably give Team Kurenai, like, a D, just a flat D in terms of like success rate here. I think they could pull it out. Like, it's not just a flat F. They're not absolutely guaranteed to lose or anything like that. But I think that it's more likely than not that Zabuza and Haku walk away from this, like, you know, like they kill Tazuna, they kill everybody there, and then they just, you know, go about doing whatever else afterwards, right? Like, I'm trying to think of any other potential win.
Yeah, like, I feel that for Swag and TG. Like, I get what they're saying. I completely understand. And they're just, like I said, they're trying to be generous, so I understand that. Me, I'm very blunt and harsh, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, they get an F for me. I just don't fucking see it. I mean, I really don't. That's just me personally, but, you know, it is what it is.
In condition.
Like, if I was being generous as well, or trying to play devil's advocate or be as transparent as possible, let's say if I was even doing a video, then I would also say the same thing, and I would also say either D or F. I do agree, but if I was absolutely forced to pick, I'd say F.
For them, and they just don't exist.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah. So, Team Kurenai does take that L. It's not Shino's fault. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Next up, we have one of the two bonus rounds. These we're really excited to talk about. First up, we're gonna have the Sand Trio with Baki against Zabuza and Haku. Now,
that's cool.
We gotta talk about Baku
cool.
first. The disrespect on Baku's name is just, like, disgusting. I know you want to talk about this. Like, this is just,
look, bro. Look,
crazy.
the thing is, like, Baki is the strongest Jonin in the sand, stated. That is a crazy ass title.
Yeah.
Like that's really, 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 really crazy. He's the strongest Jonin in the whole village, okay? And, like, you know, people have brought up to me before, like, didn't he get his attack blocked by Genma's toothpick? It's like, well, I guess Genma's just really strong too, bro. You know, like, he was selected as one of the, like...
What it does blatantly prove and definitively prove, though, is that Genma... Because Genma and that one dude, they're the low-tier Jonings. I'm sorry, they are. They're low-tier Jonings, and they fought against the four sound, ninja, and they lost, but at least gave him a hell of a fucking fight. So no matter what, like, sure, the sand Jonin, he may be the strongest, whatever, but that just goes to show you that Konoha's, like, military strength is just built different. You know what I mean? Because, like, the low-tier Jonings in Konoha are just as strong as a high-tier Jonin in the Sand Village. You see what I'm getting at? Because Genma, you know, or any other low-tier Jonin are not fucking with people like Kakashi and fucking Guy, you know, who are high tiers. And then you have the mid-tier Jonin, which is like, you know, Kurenai, Asuma, etc., you know? So, no matter what, like, if anything, it just a testament to show kind of like the difference between villages and power, but that's kind of always been a thing, let's be honest. But, you know, but yeah, no, it is impressive that he is a high-tier Jonin. But personally, basically where I'm getting at, if Rustic Kakashi was stated to be the strongest out of all, you know, and to fuck everybody up, excluding Guy, once again, you name it, etc., like, the way I see this going is Baki just gets absolutely bitched by Zabuza. I'm being honest with you. I don't think there's going to be any competitiveness there. I do think Baki just gets fucked up, because if he's struggling to a low tier, you know, Jonin from Konoha, okay, and even the toothpick guy, you know, like, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, once again, that's like saying the toothpick guy or fucking, you know, even Baki, or even I forgot what the other guy's name is that had a full-on fight with Baki. That's like saying those three Jonin could be able to give Kakashi a hard time. There's no way. I don't see that happening at all. So I do think Zabuza would absolutely beat the dog water out of Baki. And not only that, he also specializes in water style and mist, which is a pretty good combo against someone from the Sand Village. So if he knows, like, any sand attacks, that's not going to be a good thing to do. He has wind style. He has, like, a wind sword and all that. But once again, basically, you know, it can only be contentious if they're equal in a way. But even if they're equal in a way, Zabuza's like missed technique is still a pretty hard counter as well. So no matter what, my money's just on Zabuza on this one. I'm sorry if I really had to be honest. And no matter what, I just think that's what happens. And even if somehow, some way, Baki could maybe somehow pull it off, HAKU would come in, intervene, and beat his ass. Like, it's that simple.
Like 3 Hokage bodyguards. He knows how to do the flying Raijin formation. Like, there's like a crazy jutsu. And like, yeah, I know he got beaten by the Sound 4, but it was all of the Sound 4 at once, and they were in CS2. And he was out of chakra completely because he was just coming back from another mission. It's not like Genma was.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. He was basically he was fatigued as well. He was not at full power. That is true.
Low on chakra or slightly exhausted. He was like all the way out, bro.
Gone.
And like chakra exhaustion is like it's like serious in Naruto. Like compare the scale of the attacks that Naruto and Sasuke are throwing at each other at the start of their final fight at the very end of the manga in the final valley to the end where they're just like throwing punches and stuff. And it's, I mean, like the
another thing too. Now I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to their chakra level, like it's stated exactly. As a matter of fact, I could just show it from my Discord. Because they weren't completely out. I don't think that was the case. But let me check. I'll check that right now. I can obviously do an edit for this. Hopefully I remember to. Shit. But pulling this up as we speak. So they said... Okay, no. I was an idiot and I was wrong. Yeah, no, it said, I mean, granted, we were coming off a mission and out of chakra. So either you take that literally and they were completely out of chakra, which is why they were fucked, or they were very low on chakra. I think it's definitely safe to say they were low on chakra, because if they were completely out of chakra, they would just be fodder and they would get absolutely washed. I'm sorry. Like what Swag is saying right now, you see Naruto and Sasuke go from how they are in the beginning, then eventually in the end, where they're like fucking normal human beings and like super slow, exhausted, you name it, you know? So when it comes down to it, I'm just being honest with you. I don't think they were completely out, but they were definitely low on chakra. But they do say out of chakra. So, yeah.
Effects of these punches aren't even as insane as the effects of some of the hits from when they fought as kids, right? You know, they're just like staying in place, and you know, like it's just so much more muted and like toned down.
Yeah, no, Baki would be stronger than GAARA. He would just speed blitz and fucking sword his bitch ass and kill him. But then GAARA, Shikaku would come out and then he gets slammed.
They're just low on chakra. They're not as strong as they are when they're at full tilt, right? And that's probably what Genma and the other Jonin with him were dealing with. And the fact that they were still able to like survive and pretty noticeably damage the members of the Sound Force, because they mention how they're fatigued and like kind of weakened after this, because you know they just had to fight 2 Jonin. The fact that they were able to do that to them with no chakra isn't like, that's not impressive or anything. Like, you know,
that's very impressive.
It's kind of crazy. So Baki is not like some ass tier fodder Jonin or anything like that. No. I don't think he's like Guy.
He's a low tier,
probably not Kakashi level, but he's no joke, right?
He's not Asuma level. I'm sorry, I'm putting that out there. He is not Asuma level either. I don't at all. He's a low tier Jonin.
Up a decent fight against Zabuza. Now, Zabuza's also one of the strongest Jonin from the Hidden Mist Village as one of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist. So he has a pretty similar accolade. But I know a lot of people are going to come in here expecting us to say that Baki gets stomped. And I actually think it's a fairly close fight. And neither of them have any like elemental advantages or anything like that. So I'd say it could go.
I disagree. I don't see Kakashi struggling with Gemma or the other dude that had a full equal fight with Baki, or even struggling with with Baki. You know what I mean? I just don't see that at all. And the main reason why is because like that low tier Jonin was able to land a good blow on Baki. All Kakashi would do, dead ass, would literally just either beat his ass or Raikuri charge dead. Literally. That's it. Like Or just copy him with a Sharingan, Genjutsu. Like, there's just so many ways Kakashi would just bully those level of Jonings. They're low-tier Joning. I don't know what to tell you. You have low-tier, mid-tier, and high-tier. Kakashi and Guy are just built fucking different. You know, like, I don't see that at all. So, once again, if Zabuza's over here being contentious and competitive with a rusty Kakashi, okay, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Zabuza would I'm not saying he would, like, completely stomp. You know, like, Zabuza would be beating his ass and be winning the whole time, and then Baki would just be killed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it would just be like a speed blitz or anything. I think that's a little dishonest. Baki might have like maybe some form of relativity, but he would just be outclassed. It's a different class of Joning, you know. I'm sorry, I just don't think that'd be a good fight. It like if you're being generous, you know, like, and it's a low diff win for Zabuza. If you're just being blunt and like very, you know, straight to it, I think Zabuza will play around with him, and then once he gets serious, he just kills him instantly. I really do think that'd be the case. You would literally have to argue Baki could fight and give Guy or Kakashi a hard time. I'm sorry, I do not see that shit. You know what I mean? Especially after the feats that we have, and knowing those Jonings are like the lowest tiers out of all. Come on.
Either way, probably.
I gotta add to this because it's like, you know, you even have like Baki like slaughtering Hayate, right? And it's like,
yeah,
okay. Like, if you really want to get into it, right? Like, if you really want to get it there, Hayate, when he's brought back in like anime, I guess filler or canon as an Edo Tensei, is scrapping a little bit with Sakura at like during the war. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Like, is this really like what are we talking about here? So Baki does have some really good showings, like his wind blade. He just gets like the anime extends a little bit. He just hits Hayate with like the Virgil treatment, like 1,000 cuts instantly, judgment cut. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not insignificant at any showing. And his wind blade is also like said to be like really impressive. And we were talking about like how this fight could have gone. There's a couple of different ways. One you could argue is that he does something to the effect he does to Hayate's, where like.
But I will say this: it's understandable for what Swagkage is advocating for. Like, it's understandable. It's not completely unreasonable or anything like that. It's something I would also like wouldn't really have a problem with him. But like, you know what? I feel that, you know. But if personally, I just don't think that'd be the case.
So he's able to like kind of hold Hayate's like sword in place, like in his shoulder. And it's like, okay, if Zabuza is able to clash against Kakashi's like metal on his wrist and not able to slice through that and his hand, could you maybe argue he's able to like somewhat hold the Executioner's blade in place and kind of get that like that wind blade going through and just like slicing up Zabuza?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, like the Executioner's blade is quite a bit stronger than Gecko's sword. You know, it's like huge, so he probably wouldn't want to take a direct hit from it. You know, like maybe it would like go through the wind blade or whatever, right? But I think that like generally speaking, you know, Baki has some win conditions. Like, you know, he could cut Zabuza into 1,000,000 pieces, like you said, with the Virgil level 1. Or
I don't even think it gets that far either, though. I think it like even if Baki could somehow be able to like get the advantage, and he's about to kill Zabuza with his wind style, I do think the same thing would happen, and HAKU would just intervene. You would have to argue that GAARA and Temari and Kankuro could beat HAKU, and I'm sorry, she speed blitzes and kills them all. I don't care. Like, HAKU, the way she is, if she knows you're the real deal, or especially just bloodthirsty or whatever you name it, she's going to take you very seriously and fuck your shit up. You know what I mean? Now, if you're able to have, like, an emotional attachment, you know what I mean, and bring that out of her, like how Naruto did, you know, things like that, or how like potentially Guy's team can maybe, you know, get like, if you're able to have a certain personality that is able to like make her curious about you and have some type of emotional attachment and basically exploit the weakness within her, that she's just a very kind individual, unfortunately, then it's fair game, because now she's going to be like mentally nerfed in a way or kind of holding back extremely and then eventually doing what she has to do. But with GAARA's team, she's not going to be holding back. I'm sorry, there's no conceivable way GAARA's team is going to make her act how she did against Team 7. I don't see that at all. She's going to realize how fucking bloodthirsty and psychotic GAARA is. Fucking Temari and Kankuro are very strong for getting. Like, they were no fucking joke. You know what I mean? They were way beyond fucking Team 7 at that point. You know, like, no matter what, she's going to take it very seriously, get to business, and they're all getting speed blitz and wash the fuck up, you know? Like, bro, we saw Guy smack away the GAARA's sand like that shit was nothing. Like, he said, get that pussy-ass sand shit out of here, bro. You know what I mean? Haku would do the same exact shit, but worse with her ice style and cut right through and spear his bitch ass, you know? Give him the Chidori treatment all over again. Now, what is interesting, though, I will say this. Okay, if GAARA does get severely critical, you know what I mean? Like, severely critically injured or even potentially even, like, killed in a way, I do think Shikaku would come out and she would get the Naruto treatment at that point. Like, basically, like, to where he wouldn't die, you know, because he has heal regen and all that. And then basically he would just like transform to full Shikaku, or he would just transform into Shikaku fully. I mean, he could just do it on the fly if he really wants to as well. So like, no matter what, like the GAARA literally, he reacts emotionally to power as well. And if he knows the opponent is really, really strong, he will go all fucking out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he has to, you know, but no matter what, depending on however that fight goes, I'm very intrigued of how they're going to talk about when HAKU versus the Genin, but it's really interesting. But basically there's two ways to go about it. Either HAKU speed blitzes and kills all of them and somehow even permanently kills GAARA and he just doesn't heal somehow, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to be honest with you, there are limitations and restrictions with how much the Tail Beast can heal the Jinchuriki. Like, Naruto's just cracked because he has the strongest Tail Beast within him and he has the 9 tails. But fucking GAARA only has the 1 tail, you know what I mean? That's the bottom of the food chain, you know what I mean? So, like, we really don't know how... don't you remember GAARA has 5th gate lead speed? Yeah. Like, we really don't know, like, how fucking, like, cracked GAARA's healing regen is. We really don't know, unfortunately. But he's going to have some form of a healing regen. That's just how all the Jinchurikis work, you know? So, no matter what, you know, it's interesting, but there is a possibility where HAKU could just do enough AP and Shikaku just can't heal the damage, and I'd say he's fucked. Like, and better yet, I would have to do homework on this, but I believe if you hit the Jinchuriki's heart and, like, you know what I mean? Like, or kill him in a way where they just can't be healed, because something with the chakra network that's near the heart that the Tail Beast will utilize to heal their body. It's something like that. So, theoretically, if Haku hits the heart in a way or around that area, she could disrupt and sever the process of healing being able to be possible to be done to GAARA. It's literally what Kabuto did. He did some weird-ass fucking Hyuga Gentle Fist bullshit, touched Naruto in the chest where his heart chakra aligns with the heart is and everything, and he severed the connection from the 9 tails using its chakra to heal Naruto. So, basically, if that's ruptured or severed in the same similar way, with whether if it's Haku's ice style, the needles, or whatever, GAARA won't be able to heal either, and then he actually is fucked. So there is a possibility where they all just die, or 2, GAARA doesn't die, you know what I mean, and it wasn't like a lethal blow or something. He transforms, goes into Shikaku, and I'm sorry, I love me some Haku, but she's not beating a Tail Beast, you know what I mean? And then at that point, Zabuza and Haku just die, you know, like, so, but...
he could, like, you know, like Zabuza could end up cutting him in half or whatever, right? Like, I think that it's, like, fair to say that either one of them takes it. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter because of what's going on with Haku. Poor Haku, because GAARA is going to step up because GAARA's bloodthirsty. GAARA's going to step up and fight Haku. And poor Haku has to deal with the worst matchup of his entire life here because he can't hit GAARA. He's going to surround him with the ice mirrors, and the sand's just going to block all of the hits.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean, but hold up. Did you just hear that, Ken? GAARA's blocking Haku's attacks? I don't know about that one, bro. I don't know about that one. That's like saying GAARA can block Guy's attacks. You know, or Kakashi's attacks. We literally see weightless or relative to weightless speed of base Sasuke and what he can do to GAARA. We see what weightless Rock Lee can do to GAARA. Then we see what a Chidori can do. Like, I don't think GAARA is going to be able to defend himself from Haku, who is literally the embodiment of speed. Teleportation speed. I don't think the sand's going to be doing anything or keeping up. It's going to be like just like how everything was. It's going to be frozen. Like Haku states, everything's just frozen when she moves, and she's going to bitch him. Like, honestly, GAARA's sand is slow when it comes to joining. That's what I'm saying. Like, the sand can't even keep up with Weightless Lee and Sasuke, bro. Like, huh? What the huh? Like, I'm a little confused here, bro. I don't know about that one. Now, if she's severely holding back, sure. But, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's not good. It's like, if you remember GAARA in the forest, it's literally going to be a repeat of that. There's no reason to suggest Haku would be able
What? Yo, I think they're about to give the W to the Sand team, but not for the reason I was thinking, but just like, because I guess base GAARA just beats Haku. What the fuck?
To like break through the sand. There's no like, he doesn't have like any substantial like real potency showing. Like, yeah, they're needles. They're needles plus ice needles. Just not, there's nothing there. Maybe you could argue like he breaks one of size ink birds, but like, when have size ink birds ever been durable to like tank anything? Never once. So
yeah,
there's nothing there. And something I will suggest as well is like, even if he did get through GAARA's like automatic sand, there's nothing to suggest it would be potent enough to break through his like the sand on him that he holds together with his chakra that like Gatedly couldn't break through. Like, there's no way you can argue that he breaks through either of that. In which case, like, it's really just GAARA gets free reign to kind of do all these crazy things with this sand. He could cover the whole dome in sand, all this crazy stuff. And this isn't even talking about if like let's be extra charitable to Haku and say like, okay, he's pressing GAARA. Once Shikaku comes out, it's over. It's just over.
It's a complete wrap, bro. Like, if GAARA gets blood drawn from him at all, and
base Naruto was able to fight that GAARA. Sasuke was able to fight that GAARA. What? What are we on about right now, bro? Haku might get an amp against GAARA with how much bloodlust he has. That's what I'm saying. Like, Haku's a reciprocator. Like, he doesn't like that shit. Like, if you try to flex your shit or still who's boss and be dominant, he'll do it right back, but 10 times harder. Like, he reciprocates, basically. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I just don't see Shikaku GAARA doing that, or even base GAARA. Now, if it's full transformation Shikaku, that I absolutely understand. You're talking about Sannin level or Kage level fucking fighting right there, you know? But to say Kid GAARA and base, or V1 Shikaku or V2 Shikaku? Bro, a fucking kunai bomb was able to fucking blow his shit up, you know? Like, I don't know, bro.
Starts like screaming and like puts himself
nothing but love, but this is probably going to be the main area where I'll highly disagree.
A sand bubble.
Like, Haku is not fucking Sasuke or Naruto level in the shooting exams, or GAARA level. Like, what?
Starts doing the Shukaku ritual.
Like, the only thing that stated verbatim of GAARA being joining level in any aspect was his stealth. His stealth was just as good as Kakashi. But when it comes to power, speed, you name it, hell no. Haku was able to intercept War Kakashi. Exactly. She was able to intercept War Kakashi, Part 1 Kakashi. She fought against, she even, like, fought against fucking Guy and Lee in the War Arc as well, like, in their base versions. Like, I don't know, bro. This is a little wild. You know what I mean? And then literally, fucking, what was it? Oh, yeah, and like I said before, Guy in base, with weights on probably too, slapped away GAARA's sand like it was fucking butter. Like, and he's a high tier Jonin, and Haku was stated to be stronger than Kakashi, you know? And even though that guy is also stronger than that Kakashi as well, but like, either way where I'm getting at, Haku's in that ballpark where she's above Kakashi, and Guy is probably the only one theoretically to beat her with the gates, you know? Like, I'm sorry, I just don't, like, that's like, I don't know. Like, that's crazy. Once again, I was over here thinking they'd be like, all right, the guard just goes to full Shikaku, there you go, GG. But V1 or V2 is a W or base? I don't know, bro. I don't know if I can rock with that.
Lights out for Haku, bro. Like, if you want to be charitable to Haku and say that Haku's just gonna blitz GAARA because, you know, like, light speed is like too crazy, and like, you know, he'd be faster than Lee, and like, you know, like, move too fast for the sand to protect GAARA.
Yes,
sure, I guess. We don't really know how strong the Senbon are, though. I think it would be insane to say that it would just go straight through.
You don't have to know how strong a Senbon, bro. It's just simple science and math. Like, if you're super fast and you throw something with your speed, like, you know, speed, velocity, momentum, like, that has AP behind it, basically. Like, enough force and speed and velocity, you'll go right through with like a bullet, bro. So I'm pretty sure her needles would do just fine. And if for some reason you thought like, because think of it this way, like if Lee or Sasuke could do a lot of damage just with basic taijutsu, imagine what a needle could do with chakra or full force from Haku's speed. Or teleportation speed at the speed of light, reflecting off mirrors, Like, I'm pretty sure that shit would go right through Gaara and make him bleed. I'm not even joking. And then, if for some reason you thought that is not the case, right? That maybe that just can't do nothing or hurt him or can't go through his sand armor. You think Gaara is dealing with an ice spear or an ice blade or whatever? Like, come on, bro. Like... Haku could just freeze Gaara in an ice... Yeah, like, she could freeze him. Like, there's so much shit she could do, bro. Like, oh, come on. What we doing?
Sand armor that he keeps on himself.
Outlandish.
And, like, again, if he does, Gaara's going to get blood drawn and transform into Shukaku.
Yeah, but like I said, nothing but love for TG and Swag. But I think, personally, they're tripping here, though.
And Haku's not that. Haku is not fighting Shukaku at all. Okay, Shukaku's gonna I guess that they're gonna get a mission failure for blowing up the bridge, but Gaara doesn't give a shit. Like Baki would probably be like, oh fuck, we're not gonna get paid
what
for
happened?
this.
Like, how did this happen? He's gonna catch the needles in his arm and send them back and have them catch on fire. It's gonna be crazy.
And then once Haku's dealt with, Gaara is gonna go back.
I guess treating exam Sasuke with Chidori beats Haku as well now.
Baki and help him take on Zabuza. So it's just
and this isn't even I'm talking about any of the Kankuro does I don't think matters too much in this match.
I'm glad you ain't here though, Ken, because I already know you be cooking right now.
He doesn't really do too much. His you could argue maybe he
that's crazy. V1 Gaara, V2 Gaara. I could understand V2 Gaara in a sense as well, but either way, V1 Gaara, V2 Gaara, or base Gaara beats Haku. I don't know. I can't rock with that.
But the way Temari and Kankuro kind of function with Gaara.
Haku's bloodline was one of the most feared in the ninja world because of that. Yeah. And not only that, don't you think Gaara would also probably be having a mental breakdown in character too? Because whenever he realizes power or recognizes power, he starts losing his shit. You know what I mean? Like when he saw Sasuke, he would have the same reaction with Haku. Haku's just like Sasuke, a bloodline ability, fucking super powerful, stronger than Part 1 Kakashi. Gaara would be fucking losing his shit, and if anything, Gaara probably would just immediately go into Shikaku because of how powerful Haku is, but Haku would still bitch him. You know what I mean? And then it's like I said, there's two ways it goes. Either Gaara's healing regen goes to town, and then he's able to go full transformation and Haku's dead, or Gaara's regen is surpassed by Haku and he's dealt with and he's killed in his V1 or V2 state, or the third way, Gaara doesn't even go in V1 or V2, he just goes immediately to full transformation. Because he went to full transformation when Naruto summoned Gambunta and basically was pulling Kage level feats, So if anything, the best thing you could say for Gaara is he fully transforms into Shikaku and wins. Whether if that's just allowed to happen, or if it just happened at the moment and Haku wasn't paying attention, or none of that happens either, and Haku just speed blitzes and kills his ass before he could even use Shikaku. I don't know, bro.
Right? When he's fighting, they're just backed up. They don't want none of that because Gaara does not care about them at this point in the story. But if we do include Temari for whatever reason, you could also argue she blows away Zabuza's miss to back up Baki. She could do that just kind of how she did with 2 years.
I do agree. Yeah, Temari would be pretty solid counter for Zabuza. But then again, that's only if Baki is equal to Zabuza. You know what I mean? Then yeah, that can be a very, very hard counter. But once again, I think Zabuza just outclasses Baki. So.
Genjutsu, in which case that mitigates probably Zabuza's biggest win con at that point. You can maybe argue she even I don't even argue she'd support Gaara because she just wouldn't get in his way they really wouldn't. So Gaara himself is about to take on
Gaara would kill them if they did.
And Temari could offer support if need be, But realistically, like, because Baki and Zabuza's kind of close and Gaara versus Haku really isn't, there's just too much of a difference, in which case, like, if all three,
the best argument is he stops him from using ice mirrors, but that would be hard for Gaara. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All three, like, Sand Genin team up
but
with Baki, and, like, the fight's still going on.
It's just hard, bro, because, like, even Haku's base speed stats is no fucking joke. Like, literally, like, when she charges at, like, I forgot who it was, but her and Zabuza were charging at these people and they're about to kill him. Kakashi comes and blocks Zabuza's attack, and Guy blocks, and Guy and Lee intercept Haku, and then eventually, like, Haku goes blow for blow with Guy, and, like, they're, like, you know, going back and forth with the kunai, basically, and she's with her needle, you know? Like, I just, even her speed alone, like, her body speed is no fucking joke, you know what I mean? It's not even just the mirrors, you know? Like, so... I don't know. This is... I guess they forgot about the War Arc feats, and I guess they forgot about the statement of her being stronger than fucking Kakashi and all this shit, and yada yada, and like, they did acknowledge and bring up, like, Gaara was being bitched and bullied by Sasuke and Lee, but I guess that's not too relevant enough either. Like...
It's like, what do you do? What do you do? It's over. The fight ends. Like, there's no real way to say Zabuza is taking on Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro, and Baki. It's just not feasible. So we do think the Sand team do come away with a pretty confident W. What do you grade this?
I would probably say, just because there's a chance that maybe Baki would die, same thing as the Team Guy grade, like B+, A-, because you know, like,
if they win,
like where Guy just had Zabuza on lock, but Lee and Neji were in a little bit of danger and might get killed. It's kind of the same thing here, but in reverse, where Gaara absolutely just pounds Haku, and maybe Baki gets killed by Zabuza or something, but it's not particularly likely. It's definitely not more likely than not. Or anything like that. Like, it's like 50-50 either way, probably. But like you said, you also have Temari and Kankuro, who will probably be supporting him. So I'd lean more towards Baki taking the W. So I might even up it to just a strict A. But, you know, like something in that range, right? Like A- A for this team. Haku just can't do anything to Gaara.
It's over. Sand burial victims all around. But all around. So we see that fight going that way. And last up, we actually have the sound Genin. Now, if we wanted to make this, like, boring and a stomp, we could have just gave them Orochimaru as their Jonin Proctor, which you kind of like.
And, you know, obviously, like, even if Orochimaru is doing, like, the undercover, I think she was a woman from the grass village that Orochimaru was using the body of. Then, like, you know, like, Zabuza can't do anything about that, of course. But, like, what we think would be more interesting is if we said that Kabuto was leading them. And for whatever reason, the Sound Village took this mission to help protect Kazuna so they could finish building the bridge or whatever, right? Like, just go along with it because the fight is interesting. We think, both of us we're in agreement that the Genin probably don't really do anything to Haku at all. The more interesting question is Kabuto versus Zabuza. And okay, we're both Kabuto defenders here, so if you want to go ahead and, you know, start off explaining why this is just not good for Zabuza at all, you can.
The GOAT, bro. So Kabuto in part 1 is like ballistic. He's an animal. He is like pretty much he's like commonly compared to Kakashi. And we're gonna talk about who makes those comparisons in 1 second, right? But you need to understand that he's also being compared consistently to Kakashi, who's been training from his rusty self that had fought Zabuza. So he's already like coming up well because he's being like, he's interchangeable with the stronger version of a character that just straight up beat Zabuza twice. But on top of that, right? Like, he has Orochimaru who like is spitting on his name and like is offering to kill, like threatening to kill him. He's like, yeah, I guess you're Kakashi level. Like, I don't really know. Like, why don't try me. Which is like, okay, all right, that's, you know, maybe he's just kind of spinning. But then you have Jiraiya, who's like his enemy, and he's like, listen, Naruto, you're not gonna beat Kabuto. He's Kakashi level. And it's like, okay. At what point are we like, this guy is kind of strong? And you even see this off like the little scuffle he has with Kakashi in part 1. Like he almost like intellectually like plays Kakashi a little bit. We'll talk about this a little bit more later, but he's like, his intellect here is just something else entirely too. One of the top tiers in the verse. What do you got to say about Kabuto, Mr. GOAT?
So if Kabuto has those like roid pills that he popped when he fought Tsunade, Zabuza is done, bro. Because look, the thing with the Tsunade fight is it wasn't straightforward. Tsunade was nerfed pretty substantially by her fear of blood that she had to get over by the end. And then by then she was just beating up armless Orochimaru and stuff. But like, you know, it's still like Tsunade's strong. And you know, she tags him multiple times and he's fine. Like the crazy thing that I like, okay, Zabuza's biggest advantage in all of these fights has been silent killing and the hidden mist, right? Because a lot of people aren't properly equipped to deal with that. But I would argue for Kabuto that he got his nervous system fucked with by Tsunade's like electric medical jutsu, where you know, his brain was sending signals to different parts of his body than he wanted. So like his controls, like they weren't like inverted. It was like the way I described it before we started recording was R1 was like up on the control stick, and you know, you got like stuff like that, right?
It's like changing your fucking control button settings for a video game, bro. On God. Oh, that's a good one, Swag.
That he has to figure out and adapt to, and then he just does on the spot. You know, like that's
that's crazy.
It's really difficult to like, if you play fighting games, you know how weird it would be to adjust to having your controls completely switched up on you, like right before a set. And Kabuto is fighting Tsunade, the future 5th Hokage, and it's just like, you know, like that. And
it's like going for like it's like going for a down smash in Smash Bros. And you jump. It's like, it's so like we can't describe it because it's so outlandish, but he does it, which is just so like like after like a couple movements, he's like, all right, I got to figure it out, which is just like it's so crazy. Like I'm struggling to find the words, but you described it well. Like if you play fighting games, you get that metaphor completely. But continue, please.
Yeah, and so I don't think a little bit of mist is going to I shouldn't say, okay, that's disingenuous. I'll be nicer to Zabuza. I don't think a thick veil of mist like the kind that Zabuza is going to be able to put around him is going to be more of a barrier to his success than what he dealt.
What do you think, Ken? How do you think that fight goes? Kabuto versus Zabuza
with fighting against Tsunade. I just don't think there's any way, right? Because like it's like, you know, like your sight is important, right? But so is the ability to move properly. His actual like his brain, like the commands he was sending to his body, like that was impaired. I just feel like that's a much bigger handicap than, you know, not being able to see Zabuza. And again, Kakashi was able to fight inside of it. Granted, he has like a Sharingan, but he still wasn't able to like see Zabuza super well, even with the Sharingan. So I think Kabuto's fine. And like if Zabuza gets touched, that's over, right? Like for him, because it's not like Kabuto has crazy ass AP feats or anything at this point in the story, but it's that he'll do internal damage to Zabuza, like disable his limbs, make him drop his sword, or maybe just straight up stop his heart by tapping it with his
Kabuto, no problem. He's provided a direct hit for a rising on hit.
His chakra.
I do think Kabuto does win in that fight. I do think so. It's a really good debate topic. It's actually pretty underrated, like Zabuza versus Kabuto. And you could be able to argue for either side, but I do think if we were being transparent and had to pick who has the higher possibility of winning, I would say Kabuto as well. He's just extremely intelligent. His chakra blades is no fucking joke. That shit would cut through Zabuza's blade like it's fucking butter. He literally has the Hyuga Gentle Fist as well. Insane healing regen. Like, I could see him definitely pulling it off as well. Basically, where it comes to it, which is like really interesting, is like, obviously if Haku's also able to intervene and knows Zabuza's about to die, I do think that would then be a problematic for Kabuto. I don't think he's gonna be able to beat Haku and Zabuza at the same fucking time, you know. But that's just me personally.
Or a medical ninjutsu. So any contact with Kabuto is just instant death for Zabuza. I don't see Zabuza winning this.
I'm gonna add to this too, because I fully agree. I've always been I did a video like 2 years ago on this exact topic, but I still stand by it. It's something else to add to this is that Kabuto's regen is not a joke. He could also make a case like he would be able to regen any minor blows. I'm not saying he's getting severed in half and coming back. That's not the case, but you have to look at the fact that Naruto hit him with the Rasengan, did all this internal damage, and he still was able to get back up from it. And then he also...
Yeah, that's fair as well, Ken. Your scaling chain. The only hiccup in that chain though that's also really weird is we do see Rusty Kakashi go blow for blow with Kabuto without a Sharingan. So there is that, you know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying, because during the Konoha Crush arc, like that's like full power Kakashi basically. Even though he's been fighting for like a hot minute and killing so many goddamn sound joning and sand joning, so he's probably also fatigued and tired. But that Kakashi like pulls up on Kabuto and he's like, "Hey bitch, you're gonna run away again?" And then Kabuto's like, "Yeah, of course I am. You're just gonna copy all my jutsus and you'll just probably beat me because of that." You're like, "No, I'm good, bro. I'm gone." You know, like, so like, I do get what you're saying. Like, there's certain portions of it where like it could be implied in a sense to where he does scale to like full like prime powered Kakashi, but it's interesting because he was equal to a Rusty Kakashi with no Sharingan. You know, that's no Sharingan. If Kakashi was using a Sharingan while Rusty, Kabuto might be fucked at that point. You know what I mean? Because if he's over here going blow for blow and equal with no Sharingan Kakashi, and he's not even using precog, like, what the fuck does he do, bro? You know?
Also was able to still like need chakra and summon Manda for Orochimaru. So it's like, okay, this guy can take damage. Like, it's absurd. So, you know, if you gotta look at it like that, like he just, and plus like he's all these like factors that we previously listed.
But all I will say, the bottom line is the fact that he's even in a ballpark with Kakashi to begin with, and with all his jutsu, intelligence, etc., healing regen, I absolutely agree. He would definitely be able to beat Zabuza if it's a 1v1. 2v1, I don't know about that.
Doesn't seem too likely for Zabuza.
But I forgot what fucking team this is. There was one moment where I didn't hear them, and I don't know what the team is. Like, what's the fucking team? Is it Orochimaru, Kabuto, and someone else? Or, like, I don't remember what they said. Because if it's Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Kimamaru, like, that's just overkill. That's fucking overkill. Like,
along with, like, all the...
Like, what they say, is it Kabuto with the sound 4? Or is it Kabuto with Orochimaru and Kimamaru? Or Kabuto with Orochimaru? Orochimaru's team, you mean the Sound 5 and Kabuto? What the fuck? They get slaughtered.
About where
They're
Kabuto
slaughtered. Zabuza and HAKU are
showing
fucking
better
gone.
Speeds, all the countering Zabuza a little bit. He just, you know, he should be able to win after with all this in mind. It's just ridiculous. And then like HAKU versus, you know, this sound trio is just kind of a stomp. I will say, you know, it is a little interesting if you maybe give Kin like her genjutsu that she displays in the anime.
He's saying Dozu, Zaku, and Kin and Kabuto. Okay, that makes more sense. Because that Orochimaru shit is insane. Yeah, or Kimamaru, so.
She doesn't show that in the manga. Then maybe she could catch HAKU, but, you know, how we kind of have to ask ourselves, like, if these Jonin or,
yeah,
like,
I just saw your comment, Ken, too, last minute.
are able to, like, cast genjutsu that's able to get...
Yeah, I'm sorry. The sound team get absolutely fucked by HAKU. They get bitched so hard.
Broken out of via physical pain or something to that extent. How potent can Genin level genjutsu really be? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just downplay it and dismiss it, but like there is a big jump, so I don't think that would necessarily be the biggest win con. In which case, like Zaku, you know, even if you argued that he like could push away like Haku's needles, Haku's just such a speed tier above that it's gonna be like Curse Mark Sasuke versus Zaku again. And then Dosu, like we brought this up too, like because Dosu's very smart, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. The sound ninja don't care about each other. Like they actually like actively like do not care if anybody on their team does not die. You see this when Ino takes over Kin's body. They're like, do it. With no balls, do it. Just slit a throat. What's up? Call it. Call the bluff. So there is interesting something to know as well, that there would be no chance for like Haku to like see their character or anything like that, which is obvious. But I also, the reason this matters is because like even Dosu, who I don't even think would be in the Ice Mares due to how analytical he is and how smart of a fighter he is. Like when he sees Dosu self-power scales a lot. Like he sees that Sasuke is stronger. He's like, all right.
Out of all the men to cheat, you picked John Clay.
I forgot that shit's coming out in October.
They can't.
we're out later. And then he also waits for Gaara to go to sleep because he doesn't want to take
movie
it
to
on
watch
at
in
full
movie
strength.
theaters. I'm watching that
Obviously,
shit.
that didn't work out, but you know, he tried it. So, you know, he definitely wouldn't go in to offer support in that case. But even if you argue then, it's not like he makes the difference. But he would honestly just wait for the Zaku and Kin, if they were in there, to just get clipped up. So, you know, the Sound Ninja don't really have too much. The speed disparity is a little too much. None of their attacks are really going to be hitting. And yeah, so I don't know if you want to add to that. It just seems like kind of, you know.
No,
kind of
yeah, whoever goes in that like 1v1 with Haku I don't even know if the ice mirrors go up, to be completely honest. Like I think Zaku might try to clash with well, no, that's not true, because you know the Sound Ninja were messing Lee up pretty bad, and Lee beat up Sasuke, who was able to clash with Haku. So Haku probably will put the mirrors up. But like after that, it's just over. Like Zaku's not doing anything to Haku. You know, Kin probably not either, especially if you don't. I think we should, but especially if you don't give her her genjutsu, then she's just like a senbon thrower who like, you know, like Haku's that with ice mirrors that he can travel between like at the speed of light. So it's just nobody, like none of the Sound Genin are going to be able to do anything to Haku. It's really just on Kabuto to backpack the whole mission. I think Kabuto can do it, but whoever goes to fight Haku is dead.
I'll put it like this. This is the only way I can give it to Haku. This is literally the only way. I'm going to be like the most charitable. The only way you could even like argue they have somewhat of a chance against Haku is if Dosu tries to fight him first and does like that sound-based attack from his gauntlet that was like blowing Lee's like eardrums out and stuff like that. And then maybe they disorient Haku. But that's like charitable, and that's like ignoring a lot of stuff. So it's just not likely. Like, and you'd be disingenuous to say like, oh, like they really had a chance against Haku. In which case, like, it kind of falls on like...
so with this being the case, then Sound Team loses instantly. Haku goes to back up Zabuza, and Kabuto dies and gets destroyed. I'm sorry.
Kabuto versus Haku, which I think is actually an extremely interesting discussion. It's a little weird to talk about almost, but I definitely think
Haku's stated to be stronger than Kakashi several times. We even see her fighting against War Arc fucking Kakashi and Guy and Lee, you name it, etc. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, I love me some Kabuto, but he ain't beating Haku.
It's the type of thing like, if Kabuto was messing Zabuza up, he would force Haku out of the ice mirror.
Like, bro, like Ken, what the fuck does Kabuto do against being turned into a fucking glacier? Like,
to a similar position,
or millions of fucking ice fucking spikes going through his goddamn body, you know, his head, arms, chest, you know.
Raikiri with his chakra blade. I kind of see something like that going down, because it seems very likely that Zabuza or Haku would just kind of like intervene, or maybe even sacrifice himself, because he doesn't really view himself in high regard. He really just sees himself as like a tool for Zabuza's use. Like, his life doesn't really mean too much of him. What's your opinion on this? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think what would happen is Kabuto would set up for the killing blow. And
okay, so I already know everything they're going to say from here on out. So overall, very, very good video. I really enjoyed it. Very goated. Incredible video. The only main part where I eventually came to a heavy disagreement was with how with how they were scaling Haku. Because they were basically making Haku as if like she's literally just like Rusty Kakashi level or some shit. You know what I mean? In a nutshell, and I just don't agree with that at all. She's very, very strong. As a matter of fact, stated to be like way stronger than Kakashi by Zabuza, and Kakashi himself says it. You know, and then we see all her other feats in the War Arc. Like Haku is cracked, and she was in Edo at that time. You know what I mean? Close to her original power, not even at full fucking power. You know, so like I don't know. Like it's a little bit little bit crazy to me. How they were treating Haku for some reason, that she would somehow lose to Kabuto and somehow lose to base GAARA and V1 GAARA and V2 GAARA. I don't know about all that. So like all that was pretty interesting, but other than that, for the everything else, it was just incredible. Absolutely an incredible video. It's an underrated topic as well. I don't know how many people have ever done that topic, but I was actually thinking of doing that topic as well myself eventually for part 1. It's just such a good topic, you know what I mean? Just like basically a what if scenario of like if each getting squad fought Zabuza and Haku, like how it would go and you name it. And I just think that's really cool to think about, in a cool hypothetical situation. So once again, props to the video idea as well. If anybody has already done the topic, props to you as well. I just don't know. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a very good job. You know, it was mainly unbiased. It was, literally just unbiased the whole time. Very transparent as much as possible. Funny as hell. Great as hell. Perfect chemistry. Spitting nothing but fire. You name it. It was great. I absolutely enjoyed it. You know, and that's basically it. So, but as always, guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to get to the channel. Especially if you want plenty of more Naruto reactions along the way, just to see my current thoughts of things, whatever you name it. Because obviously it takes me time to do like production videos for you guys, like of me doing all of my homework and actually coming out with an Naruto video and giving my full devoted, you know, attention and thoughts and on a certain subject. So reaction videos is probably the quickest and most consistent way of you getting as much Naruto scaling as possible from me. But yeah, but overall, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe. You guys know the vibes. Batman out. Peace.